Norm Macdonald died recently, unfortunately, very sadly. Lost
F in the chat.
a battle with cancer. Although he described it as, and he kept it a secret as well. He described it as not a battle with cancer. He described it as a draw because the cancer died as well. So it's 1-1. Which he is just the sort of comedian he is. He's an amazing comedian. Always went after difficult subjects and always went for the laugh. Rather, he didn't shy away from anything. He didn't, suppress anything. But wokeists hated him. Number one, because he was on the right. He supported George Bush.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he described Bill Clinton. He went on The View in America, which is like an afternoon chat show for women, like what do they call that thing with funny women? Little women, something women. Women. So he went on the equivalent of that, and he called Bill Clinton a murderer. Which he was always saying things that got him into trouble, and he was always getting his shows cancelled. So he was kicked off Saturday Night Live for joking about O.J. Simpson being a murderer. So if we play this clip, you can hear what he's saying. It's only like 10 seconds long.
Well, it is finally official. Murder is legal in the state of California.
So that got him kicked off Saturday Night Live. So I think the producer or somebody was friends with OJ. So he got kicked off, and the guy, the writer who wrote that joke, was kicked off as well.
What's wrong with that?
This is
it's a joke, it's Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, totally.
That's why I'm saying it.
And he had an appearance on the Tonight Show cancelled following disparaging remarks about the Me Too movement. So he came out in defence of Louis C.K. He actually said the remark he said about Louis C.K. is another comedian who was at one point he was like the biggest comedian in the world, just about, but he got taken down because it turned out he was. A bit, he's a bit of a sex pest. He was, in particular, there's one instant where he was in a green room with two female comedians, and he said, "Do you mind if I masturbate in front of you?" And they said yes, thinking he was joking. And then he got his dick out and masturbated in front of them. And I think he blocked the door as well. So it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a sort of testament. It's a testament to his skill as a comedian that even his sex crimes are weird and funny. But
one way of looking at it.
Yeah, so he was cancelled. He's making a return to live performing now, in venues that'll have him. And obviously with quite a few heckles from angry people who buy tickets and get in. But he said, he was friends with Norm Macdonald, and Norm said, there are very few people who have gone through what they have. So he's referring to Louis C.K. and Roseanne. Losing everything in a day. Of course, people will go, what about the victims? But you know what? The victims didn't have to go through that. So, he was always taking an irreverent look at, and obviously, for the last 5-10 years, totems like the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter, they've been things you're not allowed to mock, you're not allowed to criticize. They're unimpeachable, monoliths in our culture. So as a comedian, he'd go after them. The thing about it is, so when he made these comments about Louis C.K. and Roseanne, he went on the Howard Stern show to apologise. And this is the level of cancellation this guy went through. He got cancelled for his apology. So he said, you'd have to have Down syndrome to not feel sorry for harassment victims during his apology. And apparently, he was going to say the R word, which I don't think I'm even allowed to say anymore. It's so bad. So he's going to say when you get a sofa and it might have been treated with a flame retardant spray.
Right.
So he's going to say, the word that could be pulled out of that sentence. But instead he thought, I can't say that. And then on the spot, his brain just came up with Down syndrome, which is worse. It's worse. But he got cancelled from the Tonight Show. He got cancelled from loads of stuff. And he always went for the wokeists hated him for, not just for the topics that he spoke about race, he spoke about Me Too, he spoke about, all these sort of dicey issues that you've really got to skate around. He was very funny about it. And he always went for the laugh instead of going for applause. He criticized comedians who went for applause because obviously a laugh is involuntary. You can't stop. I mean, sometimes when I'm performing, I'll do a joke that's nasty or edgy or whatever, and people will laugh, and then they'll suddenly feel the audience catch themselves. They're like, oh, I shouldn't laugh at that. You know what I mean? So that involuntary response, I love it when they try and stop themselves. That involuntary response is honest and it's true, and that's comedy. What woke comedians do is they go for applause, and applause is a deliberate thing. You don't involuntarily applause.
Yeah.
You don't go, oh, I'm applauding. Oh, I can't believe I applauded at that. It's a very deliberate thing where you're saying, oh, I agree with you. These are my values as well. This is my opinion too. Oh yes, thank you. Please say some more things like that. You know what I mean? It's an
interesting point though. I never thought of it like that. Like the audience reactions are different depending on whether or not it's
clapter comedy is absolutely bullshit, and nobody really enjoys it, and it's dishonest as well. So yeah, he died just a few days ago. Last week. It was terrible. And literally, the moment he was dead, the moment it was announced, comedy wokeists came out and woke people everywhere came out to accuse him of. This person, Jenny Yang, accused him of sexual assault. I mean, like, I don't know, but
they waited until he was dead.
Yeah, I mean, it seems unfair to accuse him like literally right when he's died. And I don't know. I think some of the sexual, what could he have done? Asked her for a cup of coffee or something? I don't know. Like, I don't think he was going around like if he was going around grabbing women or whatever, or being like Louis C.K., I think it would have come out sooner. But again, I don't know. Maybe Jenny's completely right. It's just to choose the moment, choose the day of his death to reveal it, and then but other tweets. If we move on to the next one. So yeah, everybody came out. All the wokeists crawled out to accuse him of being, racist, being an abuser, and, doing like. He spoke openly about how trans people deserve to die, but I'm pretty sure it was in a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what the comedian does.
Comedians generally, people always, when they get offended by comedians, they take everything they say at face value. But I've got to be honest, sometimes comedians are joking.
Do you have sometimes. The one? I don't want to ruin it if you do, but do you have the one about him having to believe in God?
No.
Do you know about that one? So he was he's approached by a trans person and they say to him, "I can't believe you believe in God, Norm." And he says, "Well, I have to believe you're an effing woman."
I mean, yeah, and that's that might be cruel, that might be transphobic, but there's an honesty in there because with some transgender women are the hottest women in the world. Some of them. It's some of them I'm like, why am I having to do all the work in your transition? You know what I mean? You've gone like 2% of the way. You've gone 2%. It's not my transition. Why am I having to put the effort in and having to remember your pronouns and stuff? Come on, just at least meet me halfway. At least shave. You know
that's a good way of putting it.
Just a bit of lipstick. So yeah, we go on to the next one. Norm MacDonald has said some really funny things. He also said some horrible things that I personally do not find funny. They include sexist, homophobic, transphobic, and racist comics meant to be jokes but aren't at all. Why don't you go fuck yourself? Jesus Christ, Mr. J Education Division. You sound like such a fun person to have at parties. Man, the thing is, none of these people could get on stage and be as funny as Norm MacDonald. They can't be funny. All they can do is tear people down. They can't create.
They
can
probably
only
couldn't
tear
even make
people
their
down.
mother laugh.
Yeah, no, they couldn't. I mean, honestly, comedy is such a difficult thing to do, and laughter is such an honest response. It's, if this person got on stage, 0 laughs. So next tweet. And obviously Norm MacDonald. Norm MacDonald was, I don't know if he was a Republican supporter, but he was certainly, pally with President Bush, the second one, W, and thought he was great. And spoke out, criticised the Democrats, as people should, you know what I mean? All right, and honestly...
this criticism's so basic as well.
And to be like, so he doesn't think Donald Trump's presidency has been that disastrous. So he's racist. You know what I mean? Everything's racist.
So Norm's opinion was it hadn't been that disastrous.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's
it wasn't that disastrous.
Okay, no, it was golden era. So, especially compared to Biden. I mean,
I don't know if I call it a golden era either, but
it's always compared to what? That's the thing.
Yeah,
compared to the months of Biden we've had so far.
I mean, the thing about Trump. I mean, a couple of things I don't like about. Like, I thought, his tax policy was, just wasn't right. Like putting the country into debt to give tax breaks to people. But man, every time he spoke on TV, it was so fun. So exhilarating to watch somebody who just didn't give a shit. And also it reversed. Like since the 80s, we've had the sort of politicians have been removing themselves more and more from the front line and from speaking their minds. They speak off auto cues. Reagan, obviously he was going senile at the time, but Reagan did press conferences literally in the steps of helicopters and stuff. So there were photo opportunities. Nobody could shout a question over the sound of the rotor blades. So, presidents were
That's genius.
Yeah, presidents were moving themselves further and further back from the media, and it was all very, very staged and scripted and managed. Whereas Trump just gets right down there, like argues with people, calls them fat pigs, calls it like, oh man, I love when he just some like deeply respected journalist who studied at Harvard and is all going for a Pulitzer and stuff, and Donald Trump would be like, yeah, you fucking idiot, what I mean? Just amazing. But yeah, Donald Trump, there's an honesty. He shot from the hip and he put himself in the front line and answered questions, which Biden doesn't do. It's all staged, gone back to stage photo opportunities, him with an ice cream. So yeah, if we move on to the next. All right, so we're on the next one. So yeah, I mean, all these people coming out, oh, man was a transphobe and showed a lot of racist flags. What do they mean, racist flags? Is that the Union Jack, the Confederate flag? I don't know.
No, it's just a flag that says the word racism on it.
Yeah.
The racist flag.
Maybe it's the ISIS flag, because they're quite racist. I mean,
have you seen, do you know Amy Horowitz?
I know the name.
So he went out and he brought an ISIS flag and an Israeli flag. And he spent one day, just like the afternoon for an hour, just waving the ISIS flag around on campus before they got big. And people kept coming up to him being like, yeah, brother. And it was just like, oh, God. They were like, yeah, free the Arab world or something. And it was just like, you really don't know what this is, hopefully. Because if you do, it's worse. So he went out with the Israel one afterwards, and loads of campus students hated him, of course. And it was just like, hey.
Yeah, because of course they hate Israel because, it's an oasis of democracy and freedom and equal rights in the midst of a sea of dictators and horrible totalitarian regimes that execute gays and punish women for adultery and all the rest of it. So yeah, man, the left seemed to be very confused. I actually had that when I was so the show Hating Live that I run up in Edinburgh. So we had a roller banner, and it had because Hating Live, basically you write down what you hate and it goes into a bucket. The comedians have to hate on it for you. So the roller banner had sort of examples. So we had Tories recycling, putting recycling in the wrong bin, the mating rituals of hedgehogs, all kinds of just daft things. And we had ISIS on there as well, because ISIS at the time were quite big and
like a band,
not doing so well now. But it's something that you should be allowed to hate on. If you can hate on the Tories, you should be allowed to hate on ISIS. You know what I mean? And some students, 3 students or young people were looking at this roller banner, and I was standing flyer on them, and they were like, oh, one of them was like, oh, ISIS, isn't that racist? And I'm like, man, how is it racist to hate on ISIS? But that's the attitude that students have got. It's terrifying. 50% of people go to university and get indoctrinated, and also people who go to university are generally pretty thick. There's only about maybe 10% of the people who go to university are actually intelligent, because 50% of the population isn't intelligent. So anyway, yeah. So he was transphobic, racist, and joked about prison rape. I mean, prison rape it's already hilarious. Anyway, next. That's why we shouldn't have the death penalty. Those guys are going to be getting I don't know.
They're actually cornered off in their own separate area, is my understanding.
Oh,
so
really?
They don't get that form of justice.
That form of justice. Well, my mate Lenny was in prison for football hooliganism. I don't know if I've spoken to you about this before, but
he didn't get abused in prison for that, did he?
There used to be a video of him on the BBC website. They all pile off this bus and just go and batter all these so their bus. People are throwing ashtrays. People outside this pub are throwing ashtrays. I mean, people like football fans from the other team. West Ham or whatever, were throwing ashtrays and stuff at the bus. So the bus just screeches to a halt. They all pile off this bus, and Lenny's booting somebody in the head and stuff. But I mean, that's football hooliganism. Number one, it's entertaining. It's much more entertaining than football. If there's a fight in a football stadium, everybody turns and watches the fight because it's just much better. Whereas if a football match breaks out a boxing match or at the UFC, nobody turns around and watches the football.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Fighting is just exciting. But yeah, so he went to jail for this, and when he was in jail, like they had like paedophiles and rapists and stuff in there as well. They had their own floor, completely sectioned off, completely separate from the rest. So these people would be like shouting taunts down at the other prisoners. All these like, it was basically a cheese and wine evening for all these like sex offenders. They'd be shouting taunts because they knew they were totally safe. It's not like the old days where they'd get a like boiling sugar water chucked over them, or shanked with a sharpened toothbrush. But anyway, yeah, another person calling Norm Macdonald racist. So if we go on to the next one, another person calling Norm Macdonald racist and homophobic, and basically saying he's happy that he's dead. Norm Macdonald became a right-wing extremist. I mean, come on, a right-wing what do words mean nothing anymore?
Well, he was bombing abortion clinics by the end of his
Oh
career.
my god,
surely.
it's ridiculous. A right-wing extremist. Anyway, like if we keep going. So this is the woman who accused me of racism, and obviously she jumps on any chance.
Wait, she's the reason you have that pass?
Yeah, she's the reason I've got the certificate guaranteeing that I'm not racist from the organisation that she was the diversity and inclusion officer in. So yeah, so she's obviously just was thrilled with the fact that people were calling Norm out. Again, she's Norm, genuinely funny. Created loads of great comedy. Her. I mean, I guess comedy's subjective, but yeah. So here's I couldn't find this on Twitter, so she might have deleted it. But she's calling him out for racism as well, and it's just it's lazy wokery because they know that Norm can't answer back. It's consequence-free virtue signaling to accuse a dead person of racism or whatever.
I don't think you can libel the dead either.
Yeah.
So.
It's sad. I mean, like. Obviously with Jimmy Savile, people like that, the death enables people to come forward. These people could have come forward before, Norm died, and he could have given.
But also
him a
with
right
Jimmy
to
Savile,
reply.
everyone in the industry knew about it.
Yeah, absolutely, and they
You
covered it
think
up
people around
because
him
it's
would
the BBC, and they love covering up paedophilia. So yeah, and also this lassie, she's accused me of racism, accused Norm of racism. She accuses everybody of racism. So Giles Corran, who's a food writer. She worked on a show with him and got him sacked from the show. I think he got sacked from the show. He deleted his Twitter as well. So yeah, if we scroll down, we can see the tweets that she said. So when I worked with Giles, he said, "Can we scroll down?" So when I worked with Giles, he said, "I was only there because of box ticking." Where are the tweets? Down. Ah, there we go. Is it? Down. Ah, there we go. Yeah. Anyway, she accused him and destroyed his career. And obviously, it's a thrill for these people to cancel people. Like racism is just this magic axe. The word racism, just this magic axe. You can go swinging around. You don't need any proof. You don't need to corroborate it. Just call someone racist, destroy them. So yeah. That just it just made me sort of disgusted. And, to call him racist, transphobic, all the rest of it, I don't believe he genuinely was racist or transphobic or anything else. And in fact, to show how good he was, the next thing shows. So this is David Cross, who's a hilarious comedian, and recognise him from Arrested Development and various films and stuff. So he said, "I'm just gutted about Norm. When I was going through a tough time after I was publicly defined as a racist piece of shit, Norm Macdonald was literally the first person to reach out and tell me that he knew that was ridiculous and that he knew I was a good person and that he had my back." And that's, I think that shows, strength of character, a willingness to go against the grain, which comedians should be doing. And
It's kind of the point of them.
And just empathy and a good person. So Norm, wherever you are, I'm sorry you've had, I hope you're in heaven, with Patrice telling jokes, and I'm sorry you've had this grief on Twitter, but I think you're a good person too.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go over to lotuseaters.com to subscribe to get access to all the premium content we have.
The way the site works is that you have bronze, silver and gold tier subscriptions. The bronze being £5 a month and allows you to get access to all of the premium content and leave comments on the articles. And we've got a new feature for the silver tier, and the silver and gold tier, which is having all of the premium articles accompanied by an audio track of a very smooth British voice reading, as you can see on the screen there. It's only an 11-minute listen listen, or it's however long it takes you to read the article. So that's for convenience. So that's for gold and silver members. And we've also got all of our regular great content, which we're all really proud of. I mean, the premium podcast we have here is Progressing to Destruction, where that's just a lot of work where it went into examining exactly what the consequences of mass immigration have been in Britain. And this was a great deal of effort to put together, and we didn't really want it being taken down from YouTube or anywhere else. So we're hosting it on our site, and we're very pleased with, well, what is, I suppose, a bit of a negative response, but not because of anything we've done, but because of the facts of the matter, it seems. But we also do various other premium podcasts, like The Contemplations, such as Are There Human Rights? Well, it depends on whose definition of what a human right you are using is. And of course, we do our regular history podcast called Epochs. This week's was The Sea People, the Terror of the Bronze Age. I really enjoyed doing this one because there was a great collapse about 3,000 years ago of the entire economy of the Eastern Mediterranean, and it seems that a bunch of piratical raiders may have been partially responsible for that, and possibly inspired the Trojan cycle from Homer. So we discussed that in that. And of course, we do our book club. For some reason, I decided that we'd highlight the George Orwell ones that we've been doing. So we've got his Road to Wigan Pier, and of course, the classic 1984. And I'll probably do Shooting an Elephant next. Have you ever read that?
Not heard of it.
It's really interesting. It's about George Orwell's time as a colonial administrator and police officer in Burma. And at one point in his narrative, an elephant goes on the rampage in a village and is killing people and destroying houses. So he has to go down and shoot it. And it is an absolutely fascinating look at the sort of colonial dynamics. The reason I haven't done a book club this month so far is because I'm currently going through the Critical Race Theory Bible. As you can see, it's 500 pages long, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through. And there are going to be many very in-depth book clubs coming out of that, because the things they believe are crazy and conservatives need to know about them.
Last thing to mention, of course, is if you'd like to see us live, you can come to our live events. So the one we have coming up, I think Saturday is sold out, but Friday still has tickets if you'd like to come. So we're going to have Andrew Lawrence down as the secret guest for that one to be the comedian.
Not so secret now.
Not so secret now. And Count Dankula, Carl, and I'll be giving a secret speech about a topic I don't want to ruin now. Yeah. But that's that. But anyway, if you'd like access to all that premium content, please go over to lotuseaters.com, subscribe. Thank you.